Yeah, I'm not seeing it here.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, you're going.
Is it going?
Yeah, you're going.
Yo, is everybody there? Can you see me, Billy?
Yeah, I see it. It's all good.
Okay. Well, it just said it stopped streaming for a second. Is it weird? What's happening? Whoa! Okay, I can't see anything on my screen here, but I'm just going to pretend like I can see things. Is it really going, Billy?
Yeah, it's going.
Okay, so here we go. On today's stream, it's 30 minutes to music theory. I tell you why I keep coming back to this stuff. The reason is because I get about 60 to 70,000 new followers every month. Okay, that's a lot of people. So I like to come on here and kind of review these things because I don't think you can do this stuff enough. These are the basis. This is the basis of music theory, the basics that everybody should know. They're in my Beato book. My Beato book is here. It comes only as a PDF, but today I have a sale on the Beato book bundled with my YouTube transcription and Instagram transcription book. It's really like two books. It's a 670-page PDF. It's half off for today and tomorrow. And the ear training course, Beato ear training course, is 30% off for today and tomorrow with the same discount code, RB710, okay? But I'm going to talk about what the first things in the book are when you actually open it up. The first thing you're going to learn is intervals. The reason I started with intervals is because they are the building blocks of chords. But really, the first thing I like to teach people for practical music theory is the circle of fifths, because this shows you what notes are in each key. Now, every time I go over this, I always tell people that you need to memorize these things. It's a certain pattern, and I draw the circle. It's like a clock. It's got 12 keys. Each of the keys, these are all major keys. Each major key has its own relative minor. We'll talk about that in a minute. But along with those keys are an order of sharps and flats. If you look at these sharps and flats, I'll explain how this works, but if you read this going this way, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, B sharp, this is that same thing backwards, but with flats, B, E, A, D. So if you go in reverse order, that's the order of flats. Now, the way the chart works is, it says key of G major here, it has one sharp, and you go down to the first sharp, and it's F sharp. If the key has three sharps, like A major, it's the first three. So A major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. E flat major has three flats, B flat, E flat, A flat. It's that simple. So what you need to do is you need to memorize C, G, D, A, E, B, right? And then you go F sharp, G flat. That's where it turns around at the bottom. Then D flat, A flat, E flat. See? D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F. And that gives you the whole circle. You can go in the other direction. You can go C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, so on and so forth, okay? You need to know it forwards, backwards, okay? We call this sharp direction clockwise, and flat direction is this way. It's really fourths in that direction, fifths in that direction, doesn't matter. What matters is memorizing the pattern here, okay? So you memorize this, how many sharps and flats, and you test yourself. You actually literally draw it out. I like to use a little plate or a symbol, and I make a circle, or whatever you have. Make a circle with something, draw like a clock. I just draw the little lines like that. I draw 12 of them, and then I start filling it in and testing myself, okay? So once you memorize this, then you simply take a scale. Let's say I take a G major scale, and I'm going to write out the notes from G, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Those are 7 letter names starting on G. So you guys know that scales go from A to G. Those are the only notes you use in music if you speak English, okay? You look here, say key of G is 1 sharp. You come down here, you say that 1 sharp is F sharp. So you put F sharp on there. That's G major right there. That's a G major scale. That's simple. Let's do another one. Let's say I take E flat major. So I'm going to put E flat, since we know that's flat, then F, G, A, B, C, D. I wrote out the letter names from E to D, right? It goes back to E here, E flat. Look here, it says it has 3 flats. What are the flats? B flat, E flat, A flat. Okay, so we already have E flat, so A flat and B flat. So that's your E flat major scale. Those are your 3 flats there, right? So this is how you use the circle of fifths. You simply memorize it and then write out the letter names and then plug in the number of sharps or flats because you've memorized this. So there's 3 things you have to memorize. You memorize the circle of fifths. Well, here's the thing about the circle of fifths, that if you start looking at things like B, E, A, D, right? Look at here. B, E, A, D flat, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, right? B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat. And then you get B here, B, E, A, D, G, C. There's patterns in it. Once you recognize these patterns of fifths, it becomes very easy to do, okay? Next thing we're going to do is, once you take these keys, once you know what they are, you've memorized this, the next thing to do is to take, I'm going to erase this down here, because you've memorized that already. I'm just kidding. Like I said, this is all in my book. This is right in the first part of it that tells you how to build chords. So I have this thing here that says major scale, triads and 7th chords, okay? This is actually version 2 of my book. Version 4 is what's out now. For those of you that have the earlier versions and you want to upgrade, it's pay what you want, but you have to write in and we'll send you an upgrade link. Need to remember to do that. Thank you, Billy. Okay, so we're going to take a key right now. We're going to say D major, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm going to look up at my chart here. D major, 2 sharps. Well, my first 2 sharps are F sharp, C sharp. So I'm just going to go in and fill them out, F sharp, C sharp, and I have a D major scale. Okay, so what do you do with a D major scale? Well, you do this. There's 7 notes in the scale, and there are 7 chords. Each chord belongs to a particular note in the scale, okay? On the 1 chord, you have a major triad that's built there. The 2 chord is minor. These are called lowercase Roman numerals. These are uppercase Roman numerals, right? For those of you not up on your Roman numerals. So these are what we call the diatonic triads, or just the chords that come from the key of D. That's what diatonic means, basically. It means the collection of chords or collection of notes that come from a key. These are the diatonic triads. The major chords are built on 1, 4, 5, right? So you got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, okay? So here's a simple chart that I like to make here. Major, and this is something to memorize, equals 1, 4, up. Let me write a little neater here. I don't want to stand in front of major, go like that, equals 1, 4, 5. Well, 1, 4, 5 is a blues, okay? So that's one way to remember what are major, what are minor. The minor triads, 2, 3, and 6. And the triad built on the 7th scale degree is a diminished, which is what that little circle, that means diminished, little circle there, okay? So these are your chords in every major key. It always follows this pattern. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, all right? When I was figuring this stuff out back in the 70s, this is how I did it, okay? Okay, so once you have this pattern down, then you learn how modes relate to this. Modes, everybody gets so confused by modes. Modes are actually simple. Modes are just subset. They're just the scales that are found within a key, okay? Mode that's built on the 1st scale degree is the Ionian mode. Well, the Ionian mode is the major scale. So I just say Ionian. And I like to write it like this, up and down. Dorian is the chord, the mode that goes with the 2 chord. Phrygian goes with the 3 chord. This is all in my book here. You buy the book, you get all this stuff, and then you just can write in, you can circle it, whatever. You write the stuff down. The best way to do it is you take the stuff and then you write it in a notebook yourself. And the act of writing it is how you memorize it, okay? This I learned I mean, I wrote this a million times when I was a college professor on a board. We used to use chalkboards. Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, which is also the natural minor scale, and Locrian. So this is how modes work. Modes are just a subset of a particular scale. The major scale, the melodic minor scale, the harmonic minor scale, they each have a set of 7 modes. And all the modes are built off each successive scale degree. Anytime you have the 1 chord in a major key, you play the Ionian mode. So it'd be D Ionian. The 3 chord, you'd play F sharp Phrygian. So if I'm playing let's say I'm in the key of C. My 1 chord is C major, right? So that's C Ionian. If I play the 2 chord, D Dorian or D minor in the key of C, I'm just playing all the notes of C major starting on D. Then E Phrygian, Phrygian's the 3rd mode. That is all the notes of C major starting on E, starting on the 3rd note of the scale. Then Lydian starts on the 4th note of the scale. Mixolydian on the 5th note, Aeolian 6th note, and Locrian on the 7th note. Okay? So then I go up here and I just fill in what chords are here. So E minor, F minor, so minus means minor, A minor, and then C sharp diminished. So once you write out the scale, okay, then you write out these, what we call the scale degree, the chords, the diatonic chords. Then you fill in here whether the chords are major or minor. Remember, minus means minor. You don't remember that, but I'm telling you that. Minus means minor. And that circle means diminished. Okay, so these are how the modes work with these. Well, if you have 7th chords in a scale, because there's sometimes you have 7th chords, like a G7 chord in the key of C, or here it would be, wait, I did this wrong, sorry, B minor. Sorry about that, wasn't paying attention. So, D, E minor, D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished. Okay, see, I wasn't looking here. Okay, so if we turn these into 7th chords, because that's the next thing, 7th chords have their own pattern that are almost the exact same as the triad. So if you turn these into 7th chords, major 7th, minor 7th. There's 2 major 7th chords built on 1 and 4. These are minor 7th chords. This is now called minor 7 flat 5. Minor 7 flat 5. Okay, this is the, and then you have the dominant 7th. That would be the 5-7 chord. Okay, so this would be, if I were to make all these into 7th chords, this would be D major 7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, G major 7, A7, B minor 7, and then C sharp minor 7 flat 5. Now those of you that are saying, God, this is way too complex already, this is pretty much all of music theory that you need to know, because you can build any chord. If you know what notes are in a key, you can build any chord, okay? You can figure out what the notes are. If you know major, then you also know the relative minor. I'm going to talk about that next. How many minutes we got, Billy?
Minutes we got?
Yeah.
We are at, we still got over 15 minutes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to talk about the relative minor key now. So when you hear the term relative minor, that just means the minor key that's related to the major key, right? So every one of these major keys have a relative minor. It's always a minor third, or let's say going down from C, 1, 2, 3 half steps down from the major key. So this is going to be C, A minor, G, E minor, D, F sharp minor. I'm writing the minors in small letters because that indicates a minor key. Once again, like I said, all this stuff is in my book. There's a discount code RB710 for the bundle and for ear training course, because you want to be able to hear these things too. And this is what the ear training course does. It allows you to hear what notes are in every key. D is B minor, sorry about this. A is F sharp minor, E is C sharp minor, B is G sharp minor. Then here you've got, I have to rewrite these out. I'm going to put G flat here. because G flat is probably F sharp, G flat doesn't, they're the same thing, okay? Is going to be E flat minor, D flat is B flat minor, A flat is F minor, E flat is C minor, B flat is D minor, B flat is G minor, and F is D minor. There we go. These are relative minor keys here. Did I do all this right? Yeah, I did. These are all the relative minors that go with the major. Like I said, they're all a third below. So, C major equals A minor, okay? So if I take all the chords in C major, C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, right? And I start here and I make this the one chord, right? So this is the one chord, two chord, three chord, four chord, 5, 6, 7. If I start here and make this the one chord, this becomes the two chord, two diminished. This is the three chord, major, right? The four chord is going to be minor. 5 is minor. 6 is major. And then this is your 7 chord, like this. What I do actually, though, is I do this. I put a flat 3 so that people know what this is. Well, it's built on the flat 3rd. This is really how you do it, though. Theoretically, you do it like this. So it's simply the same chords, just starting here, that becomes your one chord. Okay? So that's how minor keys work. The main thing to know is just memorize the pattern. If you take, let's say you're on your guitar and you find the note C, go down 3 frets and you're on A, okay? Really be 4 frets, but you're moving 3 frets. So you go from the 8th fret of the low E string or the high E string down to the 5th fret. Okay, so C is the 8th fret, A is the 5th fret. And that tells you whether you're in major or your relative minor. Make sense? Okay, so these are your, once again, we're going to write these down here. Order of sharps, this is called. Order of sharps. And then order of flats. So, you start on F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, B sharp. Order of flats is just the opposite. So I'm going to read backwards. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat, F flat. Okay? There's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry for my sloppy writing. This is how you memorize this stuff. It's no more complex than that. You have to sit down and just memorize these things, okay? I go over this every couple months. I do this video, a video like this, of the basics of music theory, because these are the things that, if you're going to understand anything, if you want to know how songs are put together, you have to understand how chord progressions are put together, okay? The only way you know how chord progressions are put together is if you know what notes are in each key. Because once you know that, then you know what chords are in each key. So, as far as the chords are concerned, so I always practice, or I used to practice that, writing out those sharps and flats. Then I would practice this other thing where I go, in a major key, how many minutes do I have, Billy?
Right now?
Yeah. Am I doing on this?
10 minutes left.
Oh man, we're cooking. I can't see anything here on the screen, so it's weird. In a major key, the major chords, right, like blues, 1, 4, 5. These are the triads. Triad, 3-note chord. So if I'm in the key of C, C major, C major, F major, G major, C major. That's 1, 4, 5. The minor triads are 2, 3, and 6. Remember, I'm using lowercase Roman numerals to indicate minor chords. And then the chord built on the 7th scale degree is diminished. Okay? These are the triads in a major key. The 7th chords are going to be major 7th, are 1, and you'd write it like this. 1, MAJ7, major 7. Sorry about my writing. And then 4, major 7. Those are the 2 major 7th chords built on 1 and 4. Your minor seventh are just like here. It's going to be 2, 3, and 6 are going to be minor seventh. Then you have your dominant seventh chord. That's going to be your chord built on the 5th scale degree, right? In the key of C, it'd be G7 then. And then you have minor 7 flat 5 is built on the 7th scale degree, minor 7 flat 5. Okay, so these are the triads in a major key. These are the 7th chords in the major key. And once again, every note of a major scale has an associated mode. All right, your first mode is Ionian, second mode is Dorian, third mode is Phrygian, fourth mode is Lydian, fifth mode is mixed Lydian, sixth mode is Aeolian, and seventh mode is Locrian. These are how keys, modes, and chords all work together. Okay, that's it. It's no more complex than that. That's a lot to bite off there, I know, but what I do is I take the stuff in my book here. What I would do if I didn't remember this, but I do remember it, so I don't have to do it, is to go through this and just write these things down and then check them in the book. Write them down away from it. Look at your circle of fifths. Circle of fifths is in the book. Make a circle. Put in your 12 little hash marks and start from the top. You can do C and G flat like that if you want. C, G, D, A, E, B, F sharp or G flat, and then D flat, A flat, E flat, B flat, F. Or go backwards. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and so on and so forth. And then you go B, E, A, D, G, C, back around. Okay, so you should know it for, clockwise and counterclockwise. You should understand both of those. Okay, so okay, so there's a question here. Can you be in a major key and relative minor key at the same time? That's a good question. Somebody asked that. Can you be in a major key and relative minor key at the same time? Well, there are certain kind of chord progressions that are ambiguous, for example. If I have the chords A minor, G, F, if I see those 3 chords and say, well, there's only one key, or really 2 keys that those 3 chords can come from. C major is the only key that has these 3 chords. So it's either the 6th chord, oh shoot. How many minutes do I have, Billy?
Right now?
Yeah, 6, 5, 4. Okay, so I can say this is 6, 5, 4. I don't really know if I came back to A minor, then you might say, well, maybe this is an A minor. Maybe this is you can say maybe this is 1 flat 7 or 1 7 6 1 in minor, but you have to have context for these things, right? Typically, anytime you have 2 major chords a whole step apart, you know what key you're in because they're always going to be the 4 chord and the 5 chord of a key. If I see the chords, let's say E and F sharp together, those 2 major chords, I'm thinking like, okay, what key has that in there? The key of B has E and F sharp major in it. If I have the chords A and B major in it, well, that's the key of E, because E, that's be the 4 chord and the 5 chord. These are how you figure the things out. There's always little tricks like this to figure out what key you're in. I always will go around and say, okay, how many of these chords can I account for in a key? And is there a pattern where is there any place that has a whole step between 2 major chords? Those are going to be, you're going to key into those, and they're always going to be the 4 and 5 chord of a major key that you're in. If I have F and G, I know I'm in the key of C. Okay, F is going to be the 4 chord, G is going to be the 5 chord. It doesn't matter what order you have in. And typically you'd have like C, F, G, A minor, right? So you got 1, 4, 5, 6. Or C, A minor, G, F. You could have 1, 6, 5, 4. Right? So these are how keys work. Once you memorize these things and you know the patterns, it's very easy to figure out what key you're in. If you're improvising, you can play C major pentatonic. That would work over that whole thing. You could play C Ionian, F Lydian, G mixed Lydian, A Aeolian. You're playing over each chord, but you're actually just using all the notes of C major. Okay? But you won't know that until you memorize your circle of fifths, because that is the key to all of this. How many minutes do I have, Billy?
You still got 5.
Okay. So that is really the key to learning this stuff, is to memorize that first. Once you know that, then you memorize the pattern of your what chords are major and minor, the triads in each key, the seventh chords in each key, and memorize the modes in order, right? I'm going to write them again. Ionian goes with a 1 chord. Dorian goes with a 2 chord. This is an easier way to see it. Phrygian goes with a 3 chord. Lydian goes with a 4 chord. Everybody's always like, modes are so hard. Modes are not hard. Mixolydian goes with a 5 chord. Aeolian goes with a 6 chord. And then Locrian goes with a 7 chord. Now, if you look up on my channel, I have videos on every single mode that you can watch. It's not just in my book here, right? It's not just on my ear training course that I have all this stuff. It's all right here on my channel. I have videos on each of these because every mode has its own particular sound. Okay? So it's really a combination of just memorizing things in a particular order. That's all you have to do. But it takes a little bit of work. I mean, to memorize it, it took me, I don't know, probably to really have it ingrained, probably a couple weeks before I really, back, when I was a teenager, when I was learning keys, it took me a couple weeks to where I really had the circle of fifths nailed, and I knew all the major and minor keys and all the relationships there, because it's just to memorize it and really have it down. But this stuff is just all repetition once again. Then you take it from here, the practical knowledge, and then you put it on your instrument. Billy, questions? Anything?
Someone asked, how can you tell if it's D Dorian or C?
Or C major?
Yeah.
Well, they're the same key. They're the same thing. D Dorian is just if you have a D chord, and I have those would be the chords of D Dorian. That would be Dorian there. I'm using all the notes of C major, but I have D in the bass. It's a minor. It would be a minor key, right, that is built on the notes of C major, but it would be, that would be a Dorian sound there. So using all the notes of C major, all the voicings and everything would have all the notes from C in there. And there's particular sounds, but this is a little bit more sophisticated. But watch my video on Dorian. I have a few different videos on Dorian, but I did one, a few months ago that's really good, that explains modes and the sounds associated with those modes. I write a little piece and things like that in there, and I explain the stuff. So anyways, remember here, discount code RB710. This is how you can support the channel. I don't do ads on my channel except for, I'm sorry, with the videos. I know that some of you really hate Coldplay. I get it, but The Scientist is a great song. Sorry, I don't like any of the other Coldplay records after that, I have to admit. I really like the second record, that's it. And The Scientist is a great song, but Amsterdam is their best song. So I put that video out yesterday. But I'm always talking about these things, whether I'm doing Zeppelin, whatever I'm doing. You hear me refer to the keys that people are in, or what the chord progressions are, or what notes are added to the chords to get some of the dissonances and things like that. It's really, really important. But those are all demonetized videos, meaning the artists make the money. So the only way that I support my channel is by you guys supporting me through things you buy in my store. Become a member of the Beato Club. You guys hear me if you watch my videos to the end. For those of you that get really ticked off about ads, because I have no control over that in these videos. What makes the song great? None of those videos. Get an ad blocker, okay? Get an ad blocker. I think they're free. Billy, are they free?
Yes.
They're free. Like I see the things in the comments all the time. Ad blockers are free. Just get one for Chrome or whatever you use. Okay. Okay, this is great. You guys are the best. RB710, 50% off through tomorrow. And Beato ear training. Go check it out. 30% off. This is how you can hear this stuff and know what you're hearing. You guys are amazing. Thanks.